and then starting the music.
Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Really?
I think we're live. Let's see what happens.
I just saw you're live up there on
yeah,
the screen.
it did say it.
I forgot something.
Uh-oh. Kyle's not ready, folks.
How do we confirm that we are live?
This was not my fault.
Here we go.
There it is.
Wait, you're not recording. There. Oh. Yeah, I know what I did wrong here. Hold on. Change to input 5.
Uh-oh, hold on. They're saying no sound. Really? No sound? Can anybody hear me? Oh, God. Troy?
Oh, he's trolling you?
What's wrong?
He had
with
it
you?
muted.
He had it muted.
Man, you really just sidetracked me, bro.
I'm sorry.
Not
It wasn't
you.
me.
Not you, Troy.
Yeah.
Hey, Snake Force. I'm going to try to stay on the mic better.
I was way more prepared last time.
I was real bad last time with coming off my mic. I'm really sorry I let everyone down. I'll be better.
Wait, that is input 4. Crap. That's all right. Russ is Laura and Laura is Russ. Right?
Oh, yeah, I did not do this. Russ volunteered this situation. I'm not trying to steal his seat.
Listener communications.
Listener communications. You are listening to Brothers of the Serpent podcast.
Perfect. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, angels and demons and monsters and serpents. This is Brothers of the Serpent podcast, and we are coming to you live on YouTube and from the 10x10x10 Tangent Cube of Science, where we are nestled amongst the dusty bones of an ancient seabed high atop the Edwards Plateau. It is Friday evening. We are getting ready for our trip to Turkey. I hope you all are chilling. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat here. So we are doing listener communications. Everybody can kick back with some beers and some smokes and some rock and roll. And we'll be going through your
beers.
emails. What's that? Kyle's checking the audio levels as we speak.
Any good
Sounds
audio,
great.
Sounds great.
any
Sounds
good
good.
audio engineer would do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it took us a little bit to get going there. This was a snap decision that Kyle and I made 2.5 hours ago. So
And then I got the call.
yeah, I was like, Laura, can you be here?
Sure can.
Yeah, so Kyle was out of town. Why don't you talk about that for a bit? You went to check on...
Yeah, so I went to Asheville, North Carolina with George Howard, and we met with the production team that's going to be doing the audio, video, and lighting and stage and all that stuff for the Cosmic Summit. So
Oh, yeah.
it was really cool. Great team of people. We went to the venue where it was going to be. We walked through it. We talked about how are the presentations going to go, what the people on stage are going to need, all kinds of details that we ironed out in that meeting, which was great. Like we'd had a lot of conversations on the phone.
Yeah.
And they had basically set up a quote, which was all the kind of stuff, we're thinking how many channels are we going to need, what size stage, all that kind of stuff was pretty much worked out.
Yeah.
But this was more logistics of like, how is the event going to flow? And when we were in the space walking through it, it was just a lot of questions came up that had never come up before in any of our conversations. So we ironed all that out. It was great. Really looking forward to working with those guys too. So
Yeah, it ought to be a fun event.
yeah,
Should be fun.
XL Media. Thanks, guys. They were very professional, and they lived up to my expectations.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have talked about the Cosmic Summit on here a lot because, as we all know, I don't stay up to date on listening to the episodes. So I don't know how much you've said, but I would like to say, I have my book club kind of started by myself vicariously through, or
That's
not
right.
vicariously, but Kyle kind of unknowingly started me a book club, and now I'm in it by myself.
So one
A
person
book club of one.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been reading the Graham Hancock, as you know. So one of the things I'm most looking forward to that event, I know it's going to be big and amazing in every way, but wow, I'm excited.
Yeah, you're prepped.
I'm like about to just see
Yeah.
Graham in full swing in real life, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, what about turkey. I mean, we're leaving in a couple of days.
Yes, I'm mostly packed. I've been packed for a long time. I'll probably have to take everything out of the luggage and like rewash it and put it back in.
I can't believe you're already packed.
Well, I every day would think, what else could I do? I've been slowly preparing.
I'm gonna pack
I'm
Tuesday.
Excited. I'm excited, and I have to pack for a 2-year-old.
I'll pack on the plane.
Yeah, I saw that in your thread. But yeah, in the turkey Telegram chat, Dakota's been sending pictures of the sites, which is reassuring.
That's right.
Happy children running around, sites still intact, no flooding, nothing broken in the photos of the sites anyway. But so that's good.
Yeah, I see people are asking in the chat. The summit event will be streamed, and I do now have an affiliate link.
Yes, so please, if you want to stream it, I'm like, come on, we got to get this link.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you want to stream it, you can get the link from Russ. He's going to post it in
I'm
the Discord.
pretty sure it's howtube.com/Brothers of the Serpent. So that's what I was told it was.
So if you sign up through there, Russ actually gets a little bit of the little cut
so
from the ticket.
that will help support me, So I would really appreciate it if anybody wanted to sign up that way.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Pushing your little business.
Yeah, don't
there.
sign up through Randall's link.
Yeah.
Sign up through mine.
Yes. There we go. Sign up through Russ's link. Good for you. Hey, speaking of, that made me think fundraising. Soccer. I'm sorry. I'm going to just do soccer real quick.
Wait a minute. What? Hold on.
I just want to say we have our first soccer game this Saturday, and for the first time ever, this organization up here is going to do a fundraiser.
You see what this
Soul, I'm going to have to teach Soul how to sell raffle tickets for fundraising. This is about to go down. So I might.
He's going to be a hustler, baby.
He might be hitting up Uncle Russ, maybe. You might have to bust out that wallet. I'll have him call
I'm 7
Uncle
years
Tom.
old, and my name is Soul.
I
just want to love you and play some soccer, man. I'm going to kick the ball.
If you can record that for him to just play when he's asking the person to buy the raffle ticket.
You know what you've just done, right? I have been trying to keep football, soccer out of the Discord for years, and now they're going to be like, hey, it's on the show. It's a legitimate channel and topic.
Well, I want to say to whoever hasn't put me in this secret, not so secret soccer chat, they need to do so. But enough of that. We're going to move on. What else do we have?
Let's tackle some space weather news real quick.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh. We may not have music.
Dude. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This freaking button doesn't work. See?
0 mistakes, folks.
This never happens when we're not
totally
live.
prepared.
When we're not live, I always have the button ready.
I thought you guys just do it with your mouth when the button's not ready.
Still not working.
Well, let's hear it, babe.
That's all right.
Acapella. There we go. Let's hear it.
From spaceweather.com, severe geomagnetic storm. Forecasters did not see this one coming. On March 23rd and 24th, auroras spread into the United States as far south as New Mexico during a severe Category G4 geomagnetic storm, the most intense in nearly 6 years. The cause of this storm is still unclear. It may have been the ripple effect of a near-miss CME on the 23rd. There were aurora pillars visible from Shenandoah National Park in central Virginia, said Peter Forrester, who, there it is, photographed the light show. There were beautiful red and green colors that were visible to the naked eye around 11 p.m. local time, he said. And there were other low-latitude sightings that were made in Colorado and Missouri, Colorado again, Nebraska, and North Carolina. More than half of all the U.S. states were in range of this display. Not every light in the sky was the aurora, however. There was also Steve.
Oh, Steve again.
Yes, Steve has been showing up. Joseph Shaw photographed this luminous ribbon over Montana. It also appeared in South Dakota, Washington State, Idaho, and Montana again, and Scotland. Steve's, or strong thermal emission velocity enhancement, looks like an aurora, but it is not. It is caused by 3,000 degrees Celsius ribbons of gas flowing through Earth's magnetosphere at speeds exceeding 6 kilometers per second, or 13,000 miles per hour. These ribbons appear during strong geomagnetic storms, revealing themselves by their soft purple glow. So these developments may have been caused by the close passage of an unexpected CME. The storm cloud could have left the sun on March 20th or 21st, when the SOHO coronagraph data were unusually sparse. We didn't know it was coming, so for aurora watchers, it was a welcome surprise. Current conditions right now: 480.1 kilometers per second is the wind speed, and 8.94 protons per cubic centimeter is the density. Sunspot number is 73. The neutron count is 5.2% below the space age average, minus 5.2%. And the KP index right now is 4.33, which is unsettled, and the 24-hour max was 7.67, which is stormy. And that is your Space Weather News for the week.
Thank you, Sam.
Yeah.
Space. It has weather patterns.
Yeah. So we have tons of emails. I'd love to be able to catch up on some of these before we leave, because they're going to pile up while we're gone too. Also, I wanted to let you guys know this is the last chance we're going to get to record a show before we leave. We're leaving very early next week. We're going to be gone almost, Kyle and I will be gone almost 3 weeks, but we are going to do our best to give you guys some content from Turkey. So we know there's going to be a break in between the 2 weeks. So at the very least, we'll try to maybe sit down with Ben and maybe some of the guides we have with us and stream something for you guys. That'll be fun.
Yep. We'll be jamming.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll stream some jamming.
We could stream some jams.
That'd be cool.
For sure.
Kyle got a fancy new guitar case.
I bought a new guitar case for
Bring it on the trip.
Yeah, it's like a really heavy-duty poly case. It's like, I don't know what they call it, TSA approved.
Oh.
Yeah, he's going to look really professional.
So the TSA probably has keys to this case.
Oh.
Are you bringing your drum?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's going to look super professional with his new, you're going to roll up with like your drum and like a bag or something. What do you got?
Well, I got a super professional looking, very tall, like supported duffel bag with wheels and a handle.
There we go.
To put the drum in. Yeah, I ordered it a while back. I've looked forever to find one that was large enough, so it should fit in there.
You know, I don't want to walk through the airport with two scallywag musicians with like ripped bags.
Yeah, long-haired, shaggy.
My case coming back from Egypt, like the bottom of it was that case right there. The whole bottom was like coming off the board, and so we were having to get him wrap it in cellophane every time we put it on a plane. It was just like, this thing's no good. So we are prepared.
Yep.
Yeah, we are.
And we've got some super chats here.
You wanted to say about the super chats, right? The PayPal.
Oh yeah.
So
I was gonna say you could also try doing the PayPal because they don't take.
I mean, super chats are very convenient.
They are very convenient.
If you use them, it's not a problem.
Fine. That's great.
But actually, if you do it through the PayPal, Kyle will get a notification immediately, and he can read your comment there too. So he'll keep
turn notifications on.
Yeah. Like,
bling.
So YouTube takes more money from you? Is that the deal?
Yeah, YouTube takes a big cut.
Inflation, people, come on. Let's all work together as a team.
Cool.
So Troy gives $15, says his usual Hamilton for hosting a live episode and an extra Lincoln for screwing you up with the no sound comment at the top of the show. Thanks. Yeah, had his mute on. Thanks, buddy.
There's no volume.
Yeah, why can't he turn it up?
Yeah, so I will have to try to like make sure I don't know if it gives me a ding, but I normally see that on a banner.
Well, it buzzes, right?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So I'll just keep an eye on it.
Yeah. There was another super chat from Gary.
Oh
scroll down a little bit.
Sorry about that.
There it is.
Says, hope you all have a great trip to
Turkey. That's definitely a Turkey.
There's a gobbler right there.
If you ever make a trip to Hotlanta to visit RC, look me up.
All right.
Alrighty.
We will. And Ancient Sanctum, thank you.
Sanctum.
Good luck and safe trip, peeps.
I just want to let everybody know Ancient Sanctum has a great YouTube channel. Should check out her content as well.
Oh, let me take a little note.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Let's tackle some emails. Kyle, you want to do the first one here from Patrick? It's short.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got to turn it on.
Here. It's real short.
From Patrick. Says, hey, Snake Bros, found you via the usual path, Rogan, Randall, and Cosmographia. Love the podcast, insightful and funny. My brain is 30%, plus 30% now, still 0%. Thanks.
Plus 30% of 0% is
Yes,
still 0%.
Still 0. Keep it up. Love the music. Love Patrick. Schlepidus on Discord.
Schlepidus.
P.S. Snacks! What's up, dude? Thank you very much for that.
You got to remember to read those subject lines, too.
Oh.
We
So
know
It's
it's
called
a lot.
Snake
We
Bro
know.
Email Speedrun.
Who reads
He's
subjects
getting the
anymore?
world record speedrun. It was very short. That was the whole point.
Dude, you killed it.
We know you got a lot going on over there, babe.
Yeah,
but
I
there
know.
is protocol. I mean, there are rules in here.
There's rules.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right,
You need
babe.
to follow
So-
those rules.
I'll try to be better.
I'm trying to be better too. We're all just trying to be
Okay,
better.
so you remember John. The last time we were doing it, he was emailing us while listening to the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes,
So
I
we have
loved
more
that.
from John.
Okay, let's hear
Oh wait, before we do that though, you told me who the winemaker was?
I'm pretty sure it
Brad.
was
Brad.
Yeah, Bradley.
Dude?
Like Bradley, not Bradley Young.
No.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry I forgot your name earlier and now. But Laura's drinking her wine at this moment, the Merlot.
Cheers.
So cheers, dude.
I
Thank
like
you.
it. Yummy.
Yeah, now I really hope I'm not getting it wrong. I checked. I'm pretty sure
If
it's
Brad is not your name, just tell us again.
We'll get it. We'll get around to it eventually.
Like,
We'll get it.
jeez.
Okay.
All right,
Yes.
John, this is called Boys, I Effed Up. So at this point, you're somewhat familiar with me and my endeavor to listen to all the podcasts before the summit. So I think he's coming to the summit.
All right.
Y'all need to take a break from making podcasts because I'm falling behind. And at the moment, I'm on episode number 121, and I have learned 2 new things. Firstly, potsherds. Last episode, or maybe the one before that, you brought up how some people thought you were saying pot shards. I am one. Dumb me. Secondly, and this is a good one, I was listening to your podcast last night around friends and family, and my friend James mentions how quickly you guys talk and how he can't believe I can understand you. Now, listen, we're from New England, so fast talking is normal, but for him to point it out was strange. And I said, yes, this is how I always listen, and you normally talk this fast. Well, this morning, I realized that Spotify will let me speed you up to 1.5x, which is what you've been on for I don't know how long. So I just call this quick listening. Haha. That's all for now, snakes. Keep slithering.
So he didn't know. He didn't
He
know.
thought
it-
we talked really fast.
He didn't know it was set on 1.5.
He had no
That's
idea.
hilarious.
We don't talk that fast, bro.
His friend's like, "What's going on here?"
Also, I have it from reliable sources that listening at 1.5 is bad for you.
Yes. Yes. I have it from the same reliable source.
Okay.
And I agree. Because in real life, people are slow and boring.
Too fast. Hey, I like to listen at 1.25 sometimes.
1.25. Yeah.
Not
it-
all the time.
It depends.
I do it
Sure.
sometimes when I'm like behind and I'm like, I really want to listen to all of it, but I also really need to catch up quickly.
Yeah.
1.25. 1.5 is too fast.
I kind of play around with it. I gauge what the bars look like, and then I may tap it, let it go fast, maybe untap, slow it down, maybe. I play with it like it's a board.
Wait a minute. You were just giving me untold bucket loads of shit for doing.
I'm joking. I'm
Ooh.
joking. I don't ever
Hey,
speed it up, really. Unless you talk really slow. I just do normal speed.
All right.
I'm staying out of this, folks. Okay, there's clearly a.
She's trolling me here. All right. We got more.
Oh, yeah. More super chats. For those of you, by the way, for those of you listening later on, this is a live show. People are donating through the super chat, so we will be reading those as the show goes on. So what do we
Yes.
have? One from Vince.
Yeah. So Vince says, if that solar storm we didn't see coming was bigger, could we all have died this week? Yeah, for
Hmm.
Yeah.
sure.
Is Dabbler's Den
And then the
Chris
solar-
Cottrell?
And then the solar storm could have also, done some damage.
Right.
But we definitely all could have died this week. Just
The
it
answer
doesn't
to
even
that question
require
is
a solar
always
storm.
yes.
Is Dabbler's Den Chris Cottrell?
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, dude.
And then
Patty,
yeah, go ahead.
$30. Patty says, safe travels, guys. Laura, so great you're going to Turkey, and even more great, the little ones are joining. Is Egypt next? Love you guys.
Only one little one's going. And
The littlest one.
The littlest one. And I'm trying to do everything I can to get to Egypt. Just know that, Patty, every day.
It will happen.
It will. And then Jeff the Curator.
Yeah.
Hey, bros and lady. Happy to give you a bigger donation for my birthday in 4 days and to help you see you off to Turkey. Thanks for all you do. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff is is a huge contributor to the show with talent and time.
On loan from God.
One more from Patty. What did she say? What's she saying
She
there?
says, sorry, I didn't mean you're going to Turkey. I meant you're going to, capital T, Turkey. Gotcha.
Yes.
Thanks for the donation.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
$5 correction
Yeah,
there.
There's a typo in that
She
message, by the way. I
paid for
see
the typo. That's funny.
We insist on proper grammar, folks.
Yeah. Thank you, Patty, for setting that precedent. We will use that to our advantage.
Okay, more emails here. Well, some people were. Let's go back a bit to the space weather news. It is an interesting concept that they were saying, like, we didn't see this coming, and then there was this huge storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is interesting, because we've got all these eyes on the sun now. There's multiple, telescopes and instruments looking at it all the time, and yet here we are. We get hit with this massive storm that no one expected.
Yeah, I thought it was weird when it started out like that, too.
It's interesting.
The part that was below 5%, was that out of the ordinary? Whichever one you said was down.
So that's minus 5%, 5 point whatever of the space age average. Yeah.
Is
like
that
for most
a lot for what you normally see?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the time that we've been looking at those numbers for almost all the time that they've been way above zero. But just recently, as we've been moving into solar cycle 25, they've been going down. The neutron count is what it is.
Okay.
So yeah, as the solar cycle ramps up, it blocks more of the neutrons that come from extrasolar sources.
Okay.
That's what they are, I'm pretty sure. So it's like radiation from deep space.
Yeah, all the cosmic rays, all that crap.
Radiation from deep space.
Yes.
It's trying to kill us. Space
All the time.
is trying to kill us.
It sounds scary.
Yeah.
The sun is also trying to kill us, but it definitely wants to kill us before it allows anybody else to kill us.
Yeah, it's keeping deep space from killing us because that's its job.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has to do that. Everybody has a job to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew Shy.
Matt.
Everybody buy the snake wine, he says. Woo!
Thanks,
Thanks, buddy.
Tell you
yeah,
what,
Matt bought a bunch of
Yeah, he did, man. That was
Turtle Creek wine. From
That was
us.
great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, let's tackle another email here. This is instantly frozen mammoths and junk is what this one's called from Luke. Hey, bros. First off, just want to say that your podcast is the shining example of what a podcast should be.
Oh.
Lately, I've been bouncing back and forth between the Path of the Pole episodes and the book report on Earth in Upheaval. Both of these are fantastic, and I'm about halfway through Earth in Upheaval in paper form. I find the instantly frozen and sometimes entombed upright mammoths fascinating. I have a couple ideas on how this may have happened that I've been noodling around in my expanded cranial cavity. I could envision an airburst or airbursts acting like a thermobaric bomb, essentially creating a large vacuum or rarefaction in its wake immediately following the airburst. This could potentially pull the extremely cold upper atmosphere down to ground level, instantly freezing whatever was there. The surface would then stay frozen from the resulting nuclear winter. Secondly, the mammoths and other megafauna we find basically still standing upright may have sank quickly and directly into the ground due to liquefaction of the soil from earthquakes, likely a result of whatever hell was being unleashed upon the earth at the time. Just some snake food for thought. Keep doing what you're doing. All the best, Luke.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we've discussed this with Randall multiple times too, like how does this happen? I think it's still a mystery. All of the things you brought up are possibilities. But the question is if any animal that's close enough to the impactor to experience this rush of cold air from the hole that the impactor pokes in the atmosphere it seems like it should just be utterly obliterated by the impact. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I do know what you're saying.
Because I thought about this same thing too. Like how do we freeze how do we bury these things and then freeze that material and then have it stay frozen? This is the problem. And
Yeah.
if it's close enough to the impactor for the impactor to have something to do with how it gets frozen in terms of like the impact itself, it seems like there would just be too much energy involved in that area for them to be preserved in anything but the tiniest pieces. I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. But, George Howard's tusk is called the cosmic tusk because it has magnetic microspherules in it, embedded in it.
Yeah, so it had to be close.
It was close.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
I've never known.
Oh, you've
know
never
that?
known? Yeah.
Sorry, George.
Yeah, they tested it and they found actual cosmic material embedded into the
Wow,
tusk
that's awesome.
that was clearly in like the same kind of molten condition. You get molten vapor of stone and impactor flying through the air after the impact, and then it solidifies and embeds itself into the material of the tusk.
It doesn't have to be an impact, though. It could be an explosion in the atmosphere, right? And
Yes.
still deliver these microscopic spherules that get embedded in the thing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be like waves of material hitting it,
Right.
like dirt and trees and stuff.
Just waves of air.
Right. A shock wave, which
Yeah.
would possibly break its bones or shear off some bones and stuff, but maybe
Just
not
pop one of those
completely
tusks
obliterate
right
it.
off.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. Like, would the shockwave from the initial explosion of a bolide, could it, like, if it's big enough to cause, I guess if it's a bombardment and there's a bunch of them, then maybe individual shockwaves wouldn't necessarily tear the animal into pieces.
Yeah. Maybe not. I don't know, but it's crazy how in the tundra, I mean, we talked about this before, it's just how in the like Alaskan muck or whatever, how
Yeah.
it's 60 feet of just frozen material with all these animal parts, and some of them still have flesh.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, I was reading
had to freeze fast enough that deep.
recently that there was a horse that was preserved so well that they were able to take blood samples from it.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, hold on, though.
Oh, wait.
Our
There's our
neighbor,
chat.
somebody I know, told me one time that she had buried her pet in the yard where she lived. No serious ice storms or anything like that, just, normal U.S. nature, whatever. But then when they moved, they dug up their pets and brought them with them to their new place and reburied them.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, you'd be surprised that the little puppy was like, the little dog was still, looked just like the little dog looked when it went in the hole.
oh man, it was incorruptible.
So I don't know. We got one case of,
I'm going to go dig up my cat
and
piece.
I've wondered that
to
before.
see what he looks like.
I've wondered that because we have animals buried on this property, and I'm like, every time I walk by a grave, I'm like, I wonder if they still look whole in there, like if they still.
Yeah, maybe.
And when
Only
Soul-
one way to find out.
And when Soul was trying to learn death, when Mally died, we started talking about that. He asked me before, can we dig her up and go pet her? And I was like, well, no.
Yes, we
But
can,
then,
but
now I'm thinking, well, anyway.
yeah.
I told him, well, she's just going to be, she won't,
But
I don't even know what I
I
said.
think the difference would be you're looking at like hair and stuff like that on an animal like that, whereas like in these specimens, the meat and the blood is still there.
And in some cases,
Okay, I see what
edible
you're
to
saying.
the
Edible.
point where wolves eat it after
When
it
it
like
thaws
gets
out.
when it thawed out of the.
I
That's
see what you're
crazy,
saying.
and they're 10,000,
But
12,000 years old.
yeah, there are some. We remember. Were you with us when we went to the exhibit at the Whitty Museum of all the mummies and stuff? They had all these mummified remains from the bogs.
I'm
that,
not sure
you know,
about
people
that.
Yes.
just like fell in the mud,
Mummies of the world we went to, yeah.
and
That's
their hair was like always very
pristine.
pristine,
Yeah.
and everything else. They're all shriveled up, but their hair.
Well,
is
and
just there.
teeth, too.
Yeah,
right?
I mean bones and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but as far as their flesh,
Oh, yeah, you're saying like the hair on the dog.
the hair on the puppy is just.
I mean, I could ask her, though. Did you poke around and see? No, we won't. We're not going to bring up that bad memory. We'll just let it all go.
Okay, we'll let it go. All right, next email.
I see people in the chats are saying, well, what about a solar event instead of a comet explanation? And I think that there may be something to that. I don't know about micronovas.
Yeah, but how is a solar event going to freeze everything? That would be, that's my first question.
Yeah. Well, it blows the atmosphere off the planet.
Okay, then everything will get cold.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So would it be a literal shock wave that would just shatter stuff?
I don't know. So people are bringing up micronovas. I understand the idea of micronovas. It is very interesting. I'm not sure.
I like what your basis, like your just simple statement. Like, I don't know if that thing can blow up a little bit.
Right. Look, there are evidence of recurring micronovas in the universe, but they happen with a very specific kind of stellar body that our sun is nothing like, unless we have all the physics wrong on stars, which is possible. Right, but I'm just not sure that our sun, if we're basically right about the fundamental way that the physics are working with the sun, then it can't explode a little bit. That's just not how it works. But there could be other kinds of solar events, or maybe the sun has like some very long cycle that happens that results in extremely energetic events that aren't necessarily like a micronova, but could be very massive explosions.
Vince's point right here: solar events don't embed microspherules. That's a pretty good point.
Right.
There has to be some kind of local explosion or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure
you're not going to get melt glass traveling at high speeds and.
Unless the melt glass is purely made from terrestrial material, right? That's the only way. Like, without an impactor to provide cosmic material for your melt glass.
That's the other thing, is it's got actual cosmic material.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I understand that I haven't completely studied this idea, but I understand some of the ideas about micronovas, and the sun slowly develops a shell of material around it and then blows that stuff off there. And maybe you get cosmic microspherules from that. I don't know. But I'm more inclined to look at the normal impactor event, because we have plenty of evidence that stuff happens. The question is, and what's very interesting, is it's difficult to explain some of these examples of these animals being entombed with that kind of event. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't have happened. So I don't know. It is very interesting questions.
Good discussion.
I'm
just looking at the
Kyle's
chat.
watching it.
These.
You can't let the trolls completely take your entire.
They're making points.
Yeah, they're all making points.
You
It's
guys
good.
are making points.
It's a great discussion going on in the chats.
Yeah, trolls, stop distracting me from my job here. Anyways, we can take a break. Maybe come back in a bit.
Yeah. We got a.
We don't really get breaks though.
No, there are no breaks in reality. It's just continuous.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, babe, get it.
timing there.
And we're back. What do you mean, almost? And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Brothers of the Serpent podcast, segment 2 of this live show. Whoops. And another break.
And lost the chat.
Forgot to mute that. All right, cool. So, continue discussion, or should we move on to the next email here?
Next email.
Okay. I've been looking forward to this email. I don't know what it
The
says.
only vote that counts.
Well, he just said he was looking forward to it, so that's actually 2 against 1.
Okay, so this is...
I'm fine. Let's go.
This is an email from Jeffrey Appling.
Well, wait. No. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I should just say, like, I don't want to read everything in here because he got some personal stuff in, but Jeffrey, who we had on the show to talk about his work with ultrasonic methods of working stone, he's interested in getting back in touch with us and maybe teaching some people about his methods.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You're not going to read it, just characterize it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to read it because he's got a bunch of personal details in there. But yeah, he moved and he had a whole bunch of stuff happen to him. Because I remember people were asking, like, where did his website go and what happened to his stuff? So I'm not sure about all that. But yes, he is still out there and he's still interested in this stuff. And he was talking about maybe giving some classes to people on how this stuff works.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I still got to buy one of those things to
Yeah, we need to get one of those things.
his, like, ultrasonic drill thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Just want to...
Is this the core jewelry that you're talking about? It's like the jewelry.
Yeah, he
with
corded it
Yeah.
out and, like, star shapes drilled right into the quartz with
remember
a
'em.
copper tube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, it needs to be looked at. Can we build a giant one?
Right. That's the question.
And he wants to teach people. So
Yeah.
that's good.
He said he was like he said after doing the show with us, he's seen elsewhere people talking about the concept, and he was like, some of them are getting the way it works totally wrong. And he's like maybe the only way to really show people this is you got to get it's hands on. You have to do it yourself and like learn. So
That's cool.
yeah.
All right, hit him up.
You
if you wanna learn.
definitely need a grinding material, right? Like, it's not just the resonance. You got to have
Right. That's right.
diamond dust or
Yeah, that's what does the work.
yeah,
Yeah, is the slurry for sure.
something.
Okay, so the email you need to read is from Rob, the one above the next
All
one.
right.
Yeah.
This one is titled "Love the Content." Incredibly important subject that I just read there. No, thank you, bro. It says, "Hey, Snake Bros. First, this show is such a great investment of your time and resources. Thanks for what you do. I caught you on Cosmic Graphia a while back and have been trying to catch up on your episodes the last several months. The diversity of topics, but consistency with independent thought and investigative approach, along with the Watcher providing some data accuracy real time, is the kind of intelligent dialogue we all need more of. Thank you, bro." He says, "I love the content, how you make it digestible, and the hilarious delivery. My brain has certainly grown 30% as promised, and now I'm always passively looking for evidence of human prehistory, high strangeness, missing persons events, and freaking pyramids everywhere now. Thanks. I think. LOL. I live way up in the New York Adirondacks these days and planning a trip to the Smith Farm over in VT, Vermont, to scope out those rock walls and root cellars discussed in the early episodes. Never even heard of them until you presented that topic, though they are practically next door. Also, I think it was Randall or Brad that mentioned that some of you were planning a trip to the New York Finger Lakes at some point in the very near future. Yes, well, we want to go there. It's not, there's no actual planning that I know of.
Brad will
Right.
plan it. He'll
Yeah.
map it all out.
So he says, please keep us posted on that. Love to meet you all in person and learn more about the geological impacts that defined the Adirondack Dome and the scouring along the Finger Lake region. And FYI, they have some great vineyards nearby too, just saying. Quick note on the UAP discussion. After listening to your UFO UAP series with Marty and just happening to catch the last episode this week as I go back and forth from old stuff to currents, I was wondering if, when reviewing where these phenomena are observed, do you folks look at sky vector And then he gives a link, skyvector.com, or any of the aeronautical mapping tools to include considerations for legit military or commercial aerospace testing. There are lots of defined, published aerospace portions designated for more high-risk activity. Not saying that this is the sole reason for what was observed, but it could at least be a factor for considering to add to the assessments as to the likelihood of more nuts and bolts stuff sometimes. Anecdotally, I had several experiences that were similar to what Russ described as what appeared to be a satellite that made extraordinary maneuvers when I lived in North Florida for a time. Near, but not under, a special use airspace. What I saw totally upended my understanding of physics. So many stories about that place. Geez, it was like the Skinwalker Ranch of Florida. After listening for a while, I think what I find most generally fascinating is that so many of these great conversation topics all seem to converge at some connecting point. And when we look at what remains from our ancestors at any point in time or place, they seem to be interested in the same stuff we are still trying to understand today. Crazy stuff in the sky, impossible blocks, strange events in the wilderness, and people going missing. Why the Earth acts the way it does, what we think we understand as physics, and how we can advance our understanding of it all. Regardless of the socio-political shenanigans we are distracted with on a daily basis, there is something comforting and intriguing about the fact that we are all still trying to figure out this consciousness thing again and again. People look to the stars to wonder if we are alone, but all we have to do is to look at our recent past and present to see like-minded folks and realize that in the near future, after Enlil wipes us out again,
Yeah.
be praised. LOL, he says, there will be more like us again, slithering around looking for the truth. Really hope you guys can keep this going. I'm really excited to see what you guys and the Cosmographia team are working on, as well as the real questions like, dude, what is up with the moon? Keep it scaly, bros. Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, buddy.
Well, according to Randall, he's never not talking about the moon.
Right.
Yeah.
Every conversation that he has is actually about the moon. And yeah, there's some stuff in there that ties in a little bit to what we were discussing on the last episode about the origins of civilization. And I did notice some people were commenting on this on the video from episode 281. Is that we never brought up the idea, we didn't really bring up the idea of like, was this knowledge basically just given to us by something else? Because Kyle and I were basically going through like, how do you start out? Who first made pants, right?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's plenty of old stories that say that we were just given this information, all the metallurgy. Because I was thinking about this again after doing the show, and I was going back and listening to some of it, and I'm just thinking like, yeah, who figures out how to extract some of these metals out of the ores, or make alloys? I mean, like, what? And maybe I just don't know enough about the process, which is entirely possible. But is it really a trial and error, or is it actually handed down somehow? Now, we did kind of go into this a little bit because we discussed ayahuasca.
I mean, my brain's doing the same thing it always does with these types of questions. I'm like, well, maybe they had some giant fires, and then there were certain rocks that they were burning on top of, and somebody noticed, like, dude, there is some really strange stuff after this fire cooled down.
Yeah.
On these rocks. And every time we burn on these rocks, there's the same kind of stuff showing up.
Yeah.
Right? That's the kind of stuff I'm like, well, but of course, I'm the same way. I don't know enough about the process, but
It would have to be some really hot, very specific fires in some cases.
Yeah.
Does your campfire...
And in some cases, it's not just burning rocks that
yeah.
does the refining. You
Right.
have to do it with certain other, I don't know. Yeah. It's a good question. Don't know.
And how many of who first figures out, like, if I dig a hole right here into the rock, down below there will be rocks that I can get metals out of.
Yeah. But anyway, going back to what was your main point? You were saying that we spent a lot of time talking about this.
Well, I just, in the early
Like,
days
what
of
was
the
first?
podcast, we were constantly bringing up how much evidence there is, at least in the stories that are told, the ancient myths, the texts, that they basically say, well, it's easy to explain how people figured all this stuff out because the knowledge was handed down by the gods.
Yeah. Maybe it's a mixture. I feel like I always say this. I'm always just trying to roll it all together. But what if it's, yes, some was handed down, but then you had some Kyles in the pack too that was like, I'm just going to go dig.
What'll happen if I set this rock on fire
I feel like there's plenty
while
of people
spinning it
the
in mercury
pack
with this other rock?
that will just go off and do random shit. So maybe it's both. Maybe when the knowledge was passed down, the one guy who's always out doing random shit was like, I already figured that out. I already knew that. You guys just wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the idea of like there being, savants or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, I think that trial and error or even just happy accident can be an explanation.
I agree with that.
And a lot of times, when you're looking at a process that we do now in modern times, you're just like, who was the first guy to decide to try that?
Yeah. And why?
Yeah. Like I was just watching a short video the other day, just randomly I saw it about how they make silk. And I'm like, who did this the first time?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the story I heard of the silkworm, and then somebody stole the silkworm.
Yeah, but the theft of it is, that starts out where the value of it because it makes silk, right? But somebody had to gather a whole bunch of them and boil them, and then string them out into string to start making silk.
Oh, that's how it works?
Yeah.
Handing it down. Let's go back to the core.
I thought it was
here.
like a spider. The silk's just like coming out of the
No,
pack.
they make cocoons.
You just have a bunch of silkworms and you're just like pulling silk.
No.
You got some little guy over there going, whoosh, whoosh, go worms. And they're just like weaving all their.
I didn't know. Okay, so you're boiling these guys. Okay.
Yeah, they make cocoons
Wow.
and then yes.
Okay. Anyway.
So I was going back. I forgot where I was going.
Sorry, guys.
This is a little silkworm manager guy.
It's just an example. It's, I'm just saying that there's lots of interesting things where that isn't something that was invented in modern times, something that people have been doing for thousands of years in some cases. And you're just like, who figured this out?
Okay, so here's what I remember what I was going to say.
Okay.
If we say the knowledge was handed down to them, we're just kicking the can up the road or down the road, whatever. And so the point still stands. When did those people first discover? So I guess what I'm thinking is a lot of things, if you grant them time to develop division of labor and all that kind of stuff, then eventually you people start purposefully trying new things because they've learned enough to know that, like, well, let's go grab some of these different rocks and crush them up and heat them and see what happens and all that. So, I mean, we're still doing that, right? We're still discovering new things.
Wasn't aluminum discovered like in the 1800s or something?
You mean aluminium?
Aluminium.
So yeah, the point is like, if it makes sense in a way that like ideas and technology were lost, but some things remained, right? That were able to be passed on, that would have taken a civilization a different route to figure out, but they had the ingredients already
Yeah.
But like if we had zero prior knowledge and we had started a civilization that we were just figuring out the low-hanging fruit, eventually that leads to more and more discovery, right? I mean, we're watching it happen right now. So even if we were the first civilization ever, we're still going to eventually figure things out.
Yeah.
And not just by happenstance, but purposefully seeking out new materials and trying new things and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, yes, you're absolutely right about that. And in your original point, which is like basically saying, well, if the gods handed this down, then we're kicking the can of down the road of where did the knowledge come from? Because somebody has to figure it out the first time.
Right.
So then begins to, then you start getting really woo, where you're just like, well, it comes from the Akashic records or whatever. It's it built into the universe, and like you do hear this sometimes that it's the spirits of the plants that told us how to make this ayahuasca brew, and then you're basically saying, well, okay, the source of the like Tesla did this too, right? The source of the information is not from this realm,
right? Yeah, I know, but that's kind of the way I would write something, right? Like if I was
gonna say it,
yeah. If I was gonna write some lyrics, it'd be like the plant taught me this, or the gods gave. It's like
yes.
like that something was a gift from God doesn't necessarily mean like he literally handed me the ingredients for mac and cheese. Like I just it's like,
man, is that where mac and cheese came from? Straight from the gods, folks.
Listen, you're going to want these curved tubes. You're really going to want them to be curved tubes.
So you need to make great. Because you need to eventually be able to make curved tubes.
That's right. Yeah.
And then see that animal out there, that aurochs? You're going to need one of those. Because later you can make cheese.
Dude, believe me. Go tackle that aurochs. Steal its baby.
Yeah.
Cheese
You're going to need to steal its milk, because if you let it go bad in the right way and then you mix it with those tubes,
yeah,
you have,
Yeah, and now you need to travel 1,000 miles south and look for a tree with yellow-colored fruit, because that will keep the cheese from being too stringy in your mac and cheese.
This is great, guys.
Put some lemon juice in there.
Yeah.
Ew.
We got some super chats up here. We need to.
What do you mean?
We need to tackle these before they disappear.
I saw a couple of these already.
What do you mean? Ew.
Are you saying lemon and mac and cheese? Lemon juice and mac and cheese? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying ew. Wait.
It's not
what?
enough to taste it. It's just enough to like break up.
Have you served this to me before?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've eaten this before.
It's enough to like break down the proteins in the cheese so that they're not all attached in these giant things able to make huge long strings.
Oh, I was thinking
it breaks them down, and then they're short, so then the cheese isn't so stringy.
I guess I thought that the citric acid in that would curdle like milk or something. I guess I didn't. I don't know.
It's doing the same. That's what. Yeah, because it's making all those proteins.
Oh, I see
like,
what you're
bind
saying.
Up. That's why it's doing
that. Okay.
Okay, back to the super chats.
No. Yeah.
Did I miss? I think I
there's
missed one.
Something above that, yeah.
Okay, we just got one from Iowa trout fishing. $10. Thank you so much. No note.
Note is below. Cheers, Kyle, Russ, and Laura. Can't wait for the Montana Mega Flood Tour, which I purchased a ticket for already.
Yay.
Hope you guys get your mind blown in Turkey. P.S. Prairie du Chien is Prairie du Chien. Okay, his pronunciation.
Prairie du Chien.
Yeah,
okay,
thank you.
What were we saying? Prairie du Chien.
Yeah, Duchesne. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Next up is Oz Brumby. 20 A's. Hi, Russ and Kyle. Would you consider doing a book review of or on Graham Hancock's America Before? This could help dispel the racist connotations being associated with Mr. Hancock's work. Please and thank you.
So that's a good question. I actually talked to Graham about this. I told him, I was like, I've been, like, Kyle and I do these book reports on our podcast, and I love all your books, and I've read them all multiple times, but we've never done a book report, because I'm worried about the publishers. And he's like, yes, my publishers will probably sue you. So that's what he told me. So
It's true.
Yeah.
He did say it to him.
We need to contact his publisher.
Right. Yeah.
And just be like, come on, bro. Everybody's already read the book. Can we just talk about it on our show?
Yeah, he's already got a Netflix show. Like, everybody knows what's going on.
Laura, can you email his publisher and ask them?
I mean, I am in charge of guests and things like this now, so maybe I can put it on
that
my
would
list.
be great. I didn't even want to try. So, but yes, he did say, don't do a book report like you normally do on my books, because I'm afraid my publisher might sue you. That's what he said.
I'll wait to meet him at the Cosmic Summit. I'll feel it out for myself, and then we'll talk about it again. So Oz, stay tuned. We'll maybe do this. We'll see.
Okay, but it's a good question though. And then Pix $10 says, "Hey folks, I'm totally enamored listening to Brothers of the Serpent shows. Nicely done. Question 1: Is it Turtle Creek Olives and Vines? Just to be sure, that's correct. Turtle Creek Olives and Vines is the tasting room.
store. That's
Yeah.
the store tasting room name.
Yeah. And 2: Has George thought about increasing attendance at the summit? Thank you.
We tried so very hard, but it's not possible in that room, and also feeding people. So we had to make a choice. Well, George had to make a choice. But I was involved in this with the hotel, trying to figure out ways to get enough tables and chairs in the room while having room for the stage. And then we looked at the possibility of renting out a completely different ballroom, but it was like really far away. There's all these details, and eventually we ended up like, here's the maximum number we can do.
But next year
So
will
it
be
is
more.
maxed. Next year we are planning to try to grow this thing much bigger.
Yeah,
and
there's a
for
different
that we will
venue,
need a
right?
different venue.
Yeah.
But that's all I'll say about that, because
Stuff's up in the air.
it's not mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll leave that
we
up to George.
We understand.
All right, scroll down, make sure there's no more, and then we'll keep
We
moving.
definitely want to grow the event. Okay.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
Rex.
Rex. Beers.
Hey, $20 for beers.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Chance that our solar system passed through a cosmic cloud dense enough to partly shade the Earth from the sun's energy, long enough to freeze the slurried muck of the impacted glaciers. I would think if we ran into a cloud, it would get hot, because now the Earth is in motion, is going very fast, and you're running into this cloud. And how fast is the cloud traveling? I guess
Yeah.
it would be interesting.
Seems
if
like
maybe,
it would heat up. Yeah, you got friction heat. Yep.
Yeah, it would heat up the atmosphere if we ran into a dense enough cloud to block out some of the sun's energy.
It's a pretty good.
But
thought,
I could
though.
be wrong.
No, yeah. I guess if it's dense enough that enough of the solar energy is blocked, which would counter the heating from the friction. Don't know.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good point. But still, let's say, so even if let's say you dropped the atmospheric temperature to absolute zero, how long would it take to freeze down 60 feet deep into the ground? Like to freeze it
Yeah.
from whatever temperature it was, right? Like,
How long does it take to freeze 6 feet underground?
I think it takes a long time. Like, there are places like, what's the this is
Why
this
do
is,
we bury people 6 feet under?
So this is that's a good question. It might be related to the
Yeah.
freezing. But this is something like they call it the frost depth or whatever from any given place, and that determines like how deep you need to bury your pipes in the ground or whatever when you're building. So if they have what do they call it, right? It's a frost
Yeah.
something. People in the north would know more about this probably, but if it's 18 inches, well, all your pipes need to be underneath that.
Yeah.
So it takes a good while when their winter comes for it to get to freeze down that low.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you get snowpack on top, it would be slower because the snow is now insulating the heat from the ground.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The ground's a great insulator, and the snow will insulate it more.
So
yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, it just seems like it would take longer than the meat to go down 60 feet. Seems like no matter what, it would take long enough that the meat would have had time to rot.
I can see that.
Yeah. So
Unless it was just anaerobic and it just couldn't even rot.
Yeah.
But I mean, even bacteria on I don't know.
Is this Ty right here?
This is
That's definitely Ty.
Yeah, that's Ty, dude.
Do you still read his even if he pays, or does it like? What do we do about him?
He says,
How do we handle Ty in this situation?
I got this one. Next up, Sith Cowboy. He says, if Jamdell Carlson and Graham Hancock started to bend, would Fitty Double D's open up for them or vice versa? Oh, wait. Started a band. Sorry.
Yeah.
Misread.
With
If
$50 Dynasty open up for them. Yeah.
50 Double D's.
50 double D.
Yes, is the answer.
Jamdell Carlson and Graham Hancock.
$2 from Matt. Loved the mac and cheese.
$5.
rant.
Thanks, Sith Cowboy.
Tell your wife I said hi, and Matt, tell your wife I said hi.
Okay. Shall we tackle more emails, or were we still talking about?
I think we should go
Yeah,
back to
technology.
emails. We're
Okay.
trying to
Go
knock
on.
this list out.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, we got a huge list.
We're
of
never
emails.
going to knock this list
No,
out.
we're not.
We got 2 minutes.
Well, we need to try, guys.
Okay, this is from Ryan, our buddy Ryan. Space and how we move in it. Hey guys, morning rumination time. So, while listening to episode 277 UFO UAP shenanigans, I realized there might be a fundamental problem in how we map the universe in relation to any other life in the universe. It's about perspective. For instance, if we discover an alien civilization, how will we even get to it? If we see life somehow on a planet and we decide to travel there, wouldn't it no longer be there when we were where we were looking? Are we not looking into the past when we look that far away? Like how do they see the Big Bang? And if they were to send us coordinates, they would likely be relative to where they were in the universe at the time they sent the message. But if everything is moving and we cannot map the entire universe due to limitations of our own perspectives, how would we know the axes we are using coordinate with theirs? It's almost a guarantee that they wouldn't unless we somehow both use the same point of reference as the 000 axis of origin, which would be absolutely mind-blowing if that was true. So either we have to hope alien civilizations have already agreed to a universal place to have that origin, and we gotta hope it's something in the universe we can see. Eventually, I'm sure, if we were given the coordinates of a few things in our universe, we could have that down. But for how long? Since everything is moving when you take this to scale, how are those coordinates ever correct for longer than a few lifetimes? Space navigation to me now seems like navigating a forest that's growing in real time and moving around itself constantly. How are any reference points valid after a certain length of time? Unless we actually map the vastness of the cosmos, will it ever even be possible? Here's hoping the custodians / longheads / Anunnaki / demons / fairies did this for us already. Because pretending we've mapped anything in the cosmos, as far as I can tell, seems absurd considering the amount of unknown variables. Anyways, hope all is good your way. And on the off chance this hits the show, here is the required snakes.
Hey, that's a great email, and I want to know all those things too. So
Yeah, everything is in motion. So, you see this a lot in sci-fi, especially in shows. They pull up their space map.
Can't have that space map.
And I mean, even in some of the really fun and complex space games that I've played, they have a big galaxy map, right? And they're like, oh, this system's over here and that one's over here and this one's over here. Now that's generally true for any given point of time. The question is how long does it take you to travel between point A and point B? If it takes a long time, like in other words, if
You got to go into cryo sleep and all this stuff, and then it takes you 1,000 years to get over there.
yeah, so you better know exactly where that system is going to be
Yeah.
before you leave.
yeah, that's crazy.
Or else you're going to miss it. But I would say in general, you want your, any, you can, so one of the messages that was sent out with one of the Voyager probes, I believe, it pinpoints our solar system using a bunch of pulsars,
Yeah.
which pulsars are visible from very far away to anybody with radio telescopes.
So it'll get them generally in the right direction, but after
Right.
100,000 years, it might be a little off.
It might be a little off, but all those
mean, it will
pulsars
be.
are in general moving with us in the galactic swirl.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Now they're not. So like
Not
you
going
said,
the same speed.
100,000 years away, it'll be a little bit off, but they
Yeah.
should be able to, if they can date the materials,
Then they could
then they can back it up and be
yeah.
like, here it is, right? Which is terrible. This is a terrible idea.
I know, that's a different subject.
Yeah, it is a different subject. But yes, so in general, maybe
if other aliens gave us these coordinates, it's a trap. Do not go there.
that's
It's
right.
just bait. Right?
It is
They're
bait,
like,
yeah.
Hey, if there's any other civilizations advanced enough to come to where we point them, it's just
right.
gone.
Yeah.
But he brought up something else, like maybe did the alien races, did someone out there in this solar system or the universe pick a designated place? It made me think,
the designated place would be the center of the galaxy.
Okay.
That's the best reference point, unless you're talking about the entire universe, and then you have a much bigger problem.
Yeah. I was gonna say it made me think of like NATO. Like, would everyone come together and say we need to all have a place where we can go to?
We need to save the universe.
You're right. Like, do we all have a place we can go where we can discuss matters of your planet and my planet? Right? Like, I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, are you talking about like some kind of federation of species? Yeah.
Because you'll see that in the
The
space
Galactic
movies too.
Council.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it is a good point. Navigating in space is hard because everything's in motion, and if it takes you a really long time to get from point A to point B, then you better really know what's going on. Like, you need not only to have a solid map, say, of the galaxy, but you need to know exactly how all those objects in the galaxy are moving relative to each other. Because if you leave from Earth and you're trying to get somewhere that's going to take you 50,000 years to get there, you need to know where it's going to be when you
it's so
arrive, not where it is
crazy.
now. So you need to know everything about its motion before you leave.
Yeah, and how are you going to figure all that out? If the gods
Nerds will do it for you.
Nerds,
You just
nerds
put the
figure out
nerds on it.
Okay, put the nerds on it.
Get after the moving stuff, nerds.
And then I guess
We need to travel.
the nerds can speak directly to the gods. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the lineup. It's gods, nerds, regular people.
You can trust nerds to figure it out eventually.
All right. Is it break time?
Yeah, and
I saw Ben
this is all his fault.
Ben from Uncharted X showed up. Yeah, he said he's corrupted us. Yeah. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, we'll be right back.
Okay, I'll step out this time.
Okay. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We've been here the whole time, actually. Don't know if you guys noticed. So we're tackling more emails. I'm still actually kind of thinking about this technology. Maybe we'll come back to that at some point.
The technology for
Yeah, like how did this stuff get started? I just find this subject fascinating, you know.
Oh, me too.
Me too. What do you think we're doing here, bro?
But we really do need to tackle these emails. So, okay, so this is from Eric. Let me check what's happening here. Okay, yeah. We got actually 2 from this guy in a row. So Eric says, "What's up, Snake Bros? Just getting towards the end of the Pyramids Are Hard episode that you made on February 9th, 2019, and I thought it was finally time to write to you guys. I was born and raised in South Coastal Massachusetts, and I told myself I would sit high atop Dighton Rock when I first emailed you, thinking my introduction could hold a candle to yours on the podcast. The realities of being a father and a tree service owner and operator loomed long enough that I just had to send this off now while in the grocery store parking lot, or else it may never happen. I first discovered your podcast through Ben's work with Uncharted X, which came through Graham Hancock's work, which came through Rogan. So I want you guys to know you've taken over, and I've been consecutively listening to each release since episode number 2. Wow. Thank you, man. I can't tell you how many parallels and coincidences have happened while listening in my helmet comm during my work days. I'm often alone, operating a machine, and can listen for hours at a time. The content continually keeps me interested. So here's a couple of suggestions for you. Keep up the great work, and have your dad start a John Hyatt cover band as lead vocalist. He would nail it, and maybe Kyle can handle some of the instruments portions.
That's cool.
All right, time for this Adamu to get back to work. Snacks! From Eric.
Snacks!
Yeah.
Thank you for your email.
Yeah.
That's great. That's, I mean, we
stash.
listen to many, many podcasts in that same way, driving a machine all day,
Yeah.
earbuds in. So,
You hear that, Stash? They want your voice on the lead singer on the album.
He's not watching right now. I went in there. I busted him.
So we got a donation to the PayPal.
hey, thank you.
Hey.
This is from, what is it? Belger in Discord? Belgar?
Belgar, yeah.
Belgar.
I know who that is. Recognize the name.
So he says, y'all need to post a pinned comment on YouTube live chats next time, pointing to your PayPal link. I believe YouTube takes 45% from what I've heard. Take lots of pics in Turkey. Belgar in Discord.
All right.
Thanks,
We
bro.
will,
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
the donation. It was.
I didn't even know you could pin comments in YouTube.
He donated $14.40.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we paid 91 cents for that.
Yeah, that's much better than what.
Much better than YouTube. So.
Turkey legs.
Turkey legs. Come on, where's Sith Cowboys? Where's all Sith Cowboys turkey puns? Huh?
He's used them on you for weeks in a row. He's probably
I know.
trying to
Is
make
he
up
posting
new
them
ones.
all in the chat? No, he's just talking about Randall and Graham forming a band. I mean, the Randall and Graham band is a great name.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is actually a continuation from the last email from Eric, because it's called "Let Me Add This to My Last Message." Hearing the stash talk about cranes and heavy things, I can attest to every single bit of it. One of my pieces of equipment is a self-propelled spider crane on tracks with adjustable outriggers, and I use it primarily for residential tree removal in areas that cannot be accessed by traditional means.
I'd love to see that.
That's
thing.
cool.
This is a rather niche service to offer, but I'm busy with it and use it probably 3 out of 5 working days a week. So the process goes like this. During the consult with the potential client, I carefully measure the tree with a laser rangefinder from a location determined to be safe to set the crane based on its ground pressure under each outrigger and how that pressure will change once it's loaded. Then I access the vicinity of the tree with the crane and set up, put on my climbing saddle, climbing spikes, chainsaw, positioning lanyard, climbing rope, and crane radio remote. Wow. I set the appropriate slings on the load hook and tie into the life support shackle near the load hook with my climbing rope, and then I guide myself into the tree and set the slings based on having the load hook centered in, but fairly well above the center of gravity of the piece I estimate I can cut out. Then I descend to the point at which the cut will be made, tie into the tree with my positioning lanyard, disconnect my climbing rope from the crane and tie that into the tree. Then using the crane capacity indicator and the load moment indicator reading on the remote, I pre-tension the crane to what I expect this piece to weigh. And I ensure that I have fairly equal tension on all the slings so that the hook appears to be plump. Then I make the cut, stow the saw, and use the remote to guide the piece down to the landing zone. And I repeat until the tree has been completely dismantled.
That is crazy, dude.
Whoa.
If
Wow.
I do all these steps properly, the piece will sit still as the saw passes through the end of the cut. This
Yeah.
does
Is that
not.
what
this-
it is? Is this what we're talking about?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
That's really cool.
Wow.
The piece will sit still as the saw passes through the end of the cut. This does not always happen, but with experience, you learn what not to do
Yeah.
and how far from perfection you are willing to accept. Hearing about your father's experiences has really helped me put the stacking of impossible blocks into further and further perspective. But one thing I've never heard any sculptor discuss is how they could get any rigging out from underneath these blocks after they were placed in their final locations. The amount of precision required would be uncanny, and removing the rigging from beneath would definitely alter the position. There's no quick swipe of the tablecloth out from under the candles going on here. Further, these proposed lifting knobs are always out of place in regard to the stone hanging from the rigging in the orientation required.
Yeah.
I have also used my crane to build a retaining wall behind my house to deal with a drainage issue on the property. This was no easy task, and the blocks were only 1.5 tons. The mold put the lifting eyes off-center, which was consistent on each block. This made the process of laying one block next to a previously set block quite challenging, even at that light weight. It's all enough to boggle my mind as I imagine how any of these ancient megaliths were cut and moved and set. Anyway, it's cool to have listened to you guys over the last several months while I was simultaneously undertaking work that coincides with the subject matter of your show. Having just wrapped up Pyramids Are Hard, I'm not sure if I'll ever get current with your most recent work at this pace. I may end up going back and forth in your archives to get current while also following up with older episodes. I get nuggets of newer stuff here and there, like when iTunes decides what to play on its own, or when you and Randall Carlson showed up in my YouTube stream. So I got to keep at it. Cheers from Eric.
Man, that's really cool, dude.
I loved that.
Yeah, that was great.
That
man.
was really cool.
And yeah, the Pyramids Were Hard episode was great doing that with Dad.
Yeah.
And he's just talking about, like, look, I've operated a lot of cranes. How did they do this? So he's
Yeah.
basically laying it out here like, yes, this is not a simple process.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I get like with the way he rigs up the tree, and then you're making that cut because you don't want the the log like to
Yeah.
crunch down on your blade, then you get jammed, and
Yeah.
you want it lifted. You want enough tension on it to where you can run the cut all the way through, and it doesn't move. But if it's rigged wrong, and the bottom
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
pops out and like hits you or
Right.
whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it can. That's
Dangerous stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah. So he's doing all these calculations on where the load is going to be, what the
Yeah.
balance
That's
is,
so
how to
cool.
set the,
Yeah,
so that he can samurai it just, and nothing moves.
it doesn't even fall. Yeah, that's great. Cool.
And if it is a spider crane, that's why I looked up. Those look cool as shit.
yeah, that's cool. I need
Oh my
one.
God.
I need one of those.
Then I'm just gonna put you to work around the property on trees.
I'll build a new tangent cube
Okay.
with giant blocks of stone. All right, what's next?
Did you ever get to read the email you had really been looking forward to?
No, Russ characterized it.
Oh.
So let's see.
Oh, wait. You had already read that one and you were looking
No, I
forward to
hadn't
reading
read
it?
it.
Oh, okay.
I was just like, yeah, he emailed us.
Yeah, he did.
What's next?
Okay.
Greg? Called That's It?
Yeah, okay. Greg, that's it.
That's it.
Dear Snakedom Patriarchs, I have been wondering the whole time about all this life and its strange occurrences, UFOs, archaeology, Egypt, etc. is driving us towards spiritual evolution. I guess he's wondering if it's driving us towards spiritual evolution. You contemplate this in episode 260. It's basically saying, wake the F up. Like someone reading the Bible over and over, doing the right thing until, bam, it coalesces to the simple love God, whatever that is, and love your neighbor as yourself. It implies you love yourself. So close up the good book and follow those principles and let the rest is enlightenment. We observe the other natural and supernatural phenomenon from curiousness, and it's fun and pleasant and inspiring, but it still comes down to love your neighbor. Aren't you trying to love your neighbors by getting into the truth through the current confusion of all these oddities on planet Earth? I truly believe the ancient pre-Egyptians, the true builders of the pyramids, got it, reaching towards the divine by attempting to correct misinformation, lies, and misdirection of the past for a more perfect vision of now and the future. Your podcast has blown my brain into the supernova realm, but helping me look at the impossible as being possible and sometimes the probable. Keep up the excellent work on challenging everything. Best, Greg. Snakes! Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah. I don't know. Trying to figure it all out, bro. I guess that's...
I have thoughts.
Let me hear it.
Yeah.
I think if you are the person really searching for the truth and all you care about is finding the truth, you think you're doing a service to everyone. But if you're somebody who the truth is going to screw up whatever you've been doing, you may not have that view of, oh, you're my neighbor and you're just trying to love me. You might have the view of, you're my neighbor, but you're trying to destroy everything that I've done.
Mm.
So I think it's a perspective on what are you really wanting? And if the people who it's going to destroy everything they've been working for when the truth comes out, they don't want that. Some of them, you know what I'm saying? Some of them don't want that. I mean, we see that happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's almost always a personal journey.
Yeah. But I'm with him, though. I seek the truth, and I would think, well, we need to spread the truth around. Everybody should know the truth. What's the deal? Why are you hanging on to a lie?
The truth is we don't know the truth.
Yeah.
But I agree that I would be on the journey of let's find that out. Let's not block it for whatever our personal reasons.
Yeah, so I guess I think what you're saying, or the way I'm taking it is, you can be seeking the truth while simultaneously blocking things that you don't think are true or that you think, because like who...
He's saying love thy neighbor, and I'm just saying I think just the people who are seeking the truth, they may be thinking, well, I am trying to love thy neighbor on a big scale here, but I'm trying to save everyone and help everyone. I'm trying to not have all of humanity following a lie or whatever. Whereas the person that's maybe wanting the lie to continue, because maybe it will screw up whatever they've been working for.
Yeah, so they're not searching for the truth.
Yeah, and so they're maybe like, no, I don't want you to love me the way you want me to love the way you want to love me. I don't want your love. I want to hide in my lie. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe am I not being
No,
clear?
that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking of it in terms of like, I guess two different people can be both seeking the truth and be very different.
I see what you're saying.
Like one person is like, whatever you're saying about what you think the truth is just like bad and no, that's evil and no one needs to know that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But both people are trying to do the same
Yeah.
thing.
I can see it all, yeah.
That's what I thought you were kind of saying, but
It's not what I was saying, but I see what you're saying.
I don't know what either of you are saying.
What are you saying? Do you have something to say?
Well, I one of the things we have developed and discussed on this podcast is that the only way to really seek the truth, I think, and this is again, I don't know this, but that goes with the philosophy of you can't ever really know something 100% for sure.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And so one of the ways you seek truth is to determine what's false.
yeah.
And in that way you can kind of move towards what's true, but you're never going to
Get rid of what's not true.
Right.
Yeah.
You get rid of what's not
Process
true.
of elimination.
Right. And then
Whatever is left, no matter how improbable, must be the truth. Right.
right. If you can eliminate everything else, which almost never happens.
Yeah,
you're
you
Sherlock
can't.
Holmes.
Whichever one of
Unless you're
these
Sherlock
things
Holmes.
that's
Yeah.
left must be the truth.
Yeah.
It's a group.
So again, I'm just careful with the seeking the truth, because I don't know, I'm not sure I know what that means.
I am seeking lies.
right. That's what we're doing.
We're seeking what's false.
Yeah.
Matt, what's the deal? Best quote by Laura.
What's the deal?
I have to give credit really to Crystal Mulville.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
Doxed.
What's the
Duly
deal
doxed.
really came from her. Love you, Crystal.
Yeah, these it's the old. Well, now I'm going to dox her even further, but it's a. Well, I'll just say it's a Texas accent thing, right?
No. Oh, yeah, she is
Marble.
from Texas. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, friend of ours.
What's the deal?
Thanks, Matt. And there was also a new phase, right?
Yes.
108.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
And heathen history. That's sweet.
What does he say?
Sorry, I can't donate right now. Not because I don't want to. Hopefully things will get better. And if things get better for me, bet they get better for y'all.
Ah,
Thanks for all you've done. Thanks for all you do and have done.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know what? We love you.
Always have.
Always will.
And Tommy. Oh,
Great.
I'm sorry.
Cool.
I'm not used to the doxing thing. I'm like the worst.
It's okay.
Anyway, hey,
I've
girl.
I've doxed
What's
her
up?
All right. What's next?
Let's see. Instrumental bumpers from Christy. Says, I've been enjoying $50 Dynasty for many moons. Although my husband doesn't care for the lyrics. So
Shay.
I'd like to also buy the instrumental pieces that I hear on your podcast. Presently rehearing the Path of the Pole and the UFO episodes with Marty. It's very admirable how you seem to be enjoying your life choices. And as a mother, I hope you all stay safe in your travels and adventures. We're ticketed for our first close encounter with you two and the gang in Asheville, since we live right down the road.
Oh, that's cool.
So please send us information on how to procure info on the instrumental music, as well as the new stuff you mentioned inspired by your Egypt trip. From Christy.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's going to be awkward.
No, it's
She
not.
told us he doesn't like your lyrics,
That's
babe.
fine.
I'm kidding. No, we're excited to see you there. I love it that people from the Snake Force are coming to.
So the instrumentals are available on the $50 Dynasty Patreon. They're there in high quality.
That's where they are.
I listen to instrumental music like all the time, so I'm really not hating on it. I support you guys.
No, that's why.
For no lyrics too.
Yeah, it's another reason why I created it.
Yeah,
or
you want some
kept
background
it like
music.
that because it's like,
Yeah.
it's good
Yeah.
to have instrumental music.
It's good.
And I have a huge lyric problem too. Like I don't like a lot of
Me too.
lyrics that I
don't
hear,
even
and
know
I'm
why
just
I
like,
gave you shit. I'm sorry.
He doesn't like most of his own lyrics.
Yeah, I know. I sour on them after a while. Ugh, these lyrics suck.
Anyway, we're excited you're coming.
Yeah, no problems there. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
However, I will say about this album, I love these lyrics because of all the connections to all of this stuff that we're interested in, right? Like our ancient past and the catastrophism and all that. It's just the myths and all that stuff. I just hadn't soured on these yet.
That's true. This album is about the stuff we're
But
talking
yeah, no problem. I totally get it. Now what?
about. Yeah, who's next?
Stephanie? Should be just the next one up, right?
Yeah, but
Just making sure.
yeah, because this would be twice now. I've picked ones that were,
Oh.
or maybe even 3 that were not right. All right. Episode 268, Mysteries, Egypt, Part 2, from Stephanie. She says, thank you for sharing your hard work. I have 2 questions from episode 268, Egypt, Part 2. Is there a way to date the black stuff that Chuck tasted? LOL. But seriously, is there? Also, in the same episode, in the Serapeum, with the empty boxes, the wall behind that box that Marty says may have been created after putting the boxes in. Has anyone questioned if that wall was put up in a time after a catastrophe and after items were retrieved? Most certainly persons survived the destruction, and there's even multiple myths about them, i.e. Quetzalcoatl. So as intelligent as we believe they were, why wouldn't they have already cleared these places out? Thank you for keeping us in the loop, Stephanie. That's cool. So, okay.
So can you date the black goo?
if the black goo is organic, or at least comes from carbon, I believe you could date it, unless it goes back too far, right? Like if it was oil derived from hydrocarbons that were created millions of years ago, I don't know that the dating would tell us when that oil was
Especially
refined.
if it's processed oil, yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's a tough one. Not sure. Chuck might have some insight on that. I think is he in the chat? I don't know. Somebody named
He's
Chuck
in
was
there. I think I saw him in there.
A Chuck is in there.
Yeah, Chuck is in there. He talks some smack just like Chuck, though. That's why I thought maybe it is Chuck.
Maybe it is him. Yeah.
I thought it was him.
Second question. I think. So regarding the wall behind that box, I think that wall wasn't there when Marriott originally mapped the place, because we found.
Yeah, we're looking through old maps.
Yeah, there doesn't appear to be a wall there. It's like it was kind of closed off, but it shows a little opening.
Yeah.
So there may have been a passageway through there in Marriott's day. So I think Marty and Chuck were correct.
Yep.
About that wall looked constructed. So not sure if that was done by ancient people or the antiquities department.
Yeah.
So we don't really know. I hope that satisfies your question.
Yeah, and the other question
we don't know
about people cleaning them out, like emptying the place out. Like, yeah, I think that could have happened in antiquity.
I definitely think that happened. Well, we do know that they were empty when they were discovered in modern times.
Right.
So they were. If they ever had anything in them, then they were cleaned out in antiquity.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's kind of my favorite theory, is that the boxes were made to contain something important to protect it, and they were closed, and then at a later time, people with the knowledge of what the contents of the boxes were came and retrieved what was in the boxes that contained things, which is why there was one box that was not opened, because that box was empty. So they never bothered to open it because they knew it didn't have anything in it. That's what I think. I think that's probable. I don't know that happened, but that seems probable based on.
It's your favorite theory.
That's my favorite. That's my pet theory.
Okay, that's good to know.
He says,
Chuck says he's
Chuck, I am. All right, bro.
Finsardio202. What is this?
Fencer.
Fincer, but what's the D?
I don't know.
Fencer 02.
Anyway, the Nueces River Jam session was epic, y'all. When are you gonna finish that float trip?
We never got to float at all, really.
Yeah, we are looking at the possibility of getting another place on the Guadalupe, which never dries up either. So
Yeah.
that would be cool. We're looking
Snake
at
Bros
that.
meetup.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it break time again? Final break?
No
Oh,
way.
my gosh, it is.
I
Wow.
just left.
So fast.
No. Is it really?
It really is.
It is.
Fastest.
Unless that clock is lying.
2
No, the clock
hours
is
of
not lying.
podcast. Wow.
It's not lying.
Wow. This really just flew by here.
You
this
are
last.
experiencing the fastest
I'm
2 hours of
experiencing it. It's a
podcasting.
time warp in here.
Yeah. Well, see, Russ made me put the lyrics in these bumper songs. He was mad last time because I didn't put lyrics in them.
Okay, so one person doesn't want the lyrics. Screw that guy.
I'm just letting you know.
Well, we can't screw him because we're going to meet him live. And we got to be nice.
Tell me what you're building. Far too many stories hide. And tell me where will we be when it comes down from the sky? Oh, the love and the loss, the rise and fall.
folks. We are back. Or I am back.
I'm back.
Lauren Wrestling.
We are here.
Final segment.
Final
right.
segment.
Final
I
segment.
hope I don't screw up the end.
Which line do you want? We'll just give you the love line.
There we go.
That's what you want.
That's
Okay.
the safest. If I'm not in here back to back every week, we don't need to put too much on me. That's risky.
All right. Well, we got a ramblings email from Buttflapperheimer von Schland.
All right.
Okay, let's hear it. I love ramblers.
Greetings to the Snake family. I enjoy listening to your readers' emails, and I slowly realized I was supposed to tell you how I landed on the Snake Bros. So here's a bit of Buttflapperheimer history. While waiting for the internet to arrive, my favorite broadcasts were like Paul Harvey and then Car Talk.
Oh, dude. Paul Harvey.
With
Great.
Click and Clack the Tappet Brothers. And later I found Benjamin Grundy podcasting about UFOs from his basement,
Oh.
which became well known as Mysterious Universe. And then on to Paul Harrop with Origins and Mysteries Abound, and Art Bell on Coast to Coast, Binnell of America, Grimerica, and many others that I can't recall. I was a longtime user of the Juice podcast aggregator, and that had an item in the download list called Adam Curry's Picks. One day it occurred to me to do a search on Adam Curry, the Podfather, and I discovered No Agenda, the best podcast in the universe. After listening to No Agenda for almost 15 years, Kyle made a donation to them and plugged the Brothers of the Serpent. And being aware of the Gnostics and the cult of the Serpent, I had to find out who the heck would name their podcast such a thing, and discovered another best podcast in the universe. Snakes! So one thing I noticed during the years is that there is a slippery slope in podcasting called the paranormal. The paranormal is an entertaining subject, and I have searched vainly for answers to my own experience there. But you guys are on a different mission, which required you to shed the standard model, but at the same time remain mostly attached to the observable. This leads to questions from which we all learn. This is a great road to follow. I've listened to other podcasts with similar goals that drove into the paranormal ditch on the side of the road, where the questions are already known and the same easy answers are endlessly discussed, and sometimes they end up mired in New Age woo or reading ghost stories to the audience. If you want to hear stories, that is fine, but I desperately hope that my Snake Bros stick to their mission assignment. I love Marty's contributions to the podcast, but the UFO demons are a red flag at the edge of the road. The next time that Marty is on the show, I will savor every word because he is great, but I will be wearing my tinfoil butt flap.
Yes,
Tinfoil
dude.
butt flap.
Tinfoil butt flaps. This is genius. Next Halloween costume.
This guy, I told you, butt
But
flapper
every
Heimer
time
von
you
Schland
sit
is a legend.
down, it's gonna like,
It'll have
Cup
a butt
to your
shape.
butt.
It'll have a butt shaped crinkle.
and then when you stand back up, it'll be poked out like a
Yeah.
butt.
It'll be the
And then when you sit
pristine
down-
image of my butt in tinfoil.
But then when you sit down again, because it's already crinkled, it's just gonna
It'll
keep,
be a double butt.
It'll be a mid-rise or high-rise butt showing.
You just gotta stretch it out a little bit every now and
Okay. Anyway.
then. Genius, though, boy. It keeps you out of the.
You guys see what I have to put up with?
keeps
Like,
you out of the demon ditch or whatever he called it.
Yeah, that was funny.
You can't go in there with one of those on.
the UFO demons are a red flag at the edge of the road. Okay, so he says he'll be wearing his tinfoil butt flap. There are no easy answers, which is good because it is the search itself that we seek. Thanks for taking us along your journey. Sincerely, Butt Flapperheimer, somewhere in Schland.
Thank you so much.
P.S. This should in no way reflect negatively on Marty. He is the compiler of the reports, and he is the greatest. Cue up the theremin. Yeah, Marty's amazing, and I agree with you that I love how you put this, man. That we ditch the standard model, but we try to stick to basically the observable. Now, obviously, we veer off into pure speculation land, like that's part of it. But we try to come back to say, like, what do we actually know? What can we see? And this is, that you can't always get the answers that way. Like we were discussing earlier, people were talking about getting enlightened. This goes back to where does the information come from for some of these things? And one of the possibilities that is that it comes straight out of Wu Land, right?
Yeah.
You know, this other realm, the spirit realm, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a fantastic email. I really
That it was
appreciate
great.
it. Yeah.
And I struggle with this a little bit. Like in some ways I accept the standard model, in some ways I don't. And like why I choose which things I accept and which things I don't, or which things I question or whatever, really has to do with, at least from what I've learned, the empirical evidence or the observations made, not the conclusions arrived at by theoretical ideas about what was just observed, or about how what was observed works. Like that's really where you have to draw the line. So it's like, when you learn certain things, it's like we're taught a model, and then when you dig deep into certain aspects of the model, you figure out that like, well, we've never actually seen that.
Yeah.
What was observed was this and this and this, and then they kind of put all
Yeah.
those things together, and it's like, okay, here's a theory of how all those things can exist in the same way, and this theory would kind of unify all these various observations, but then we haven't figured out a way to test that yet with an experiment, and then have observations from that, and it's like, okay, so it might be a really good idea, and it might be the most probable, but that doesn't eliminate less probable ideas and possibilities.
And even when they do run experiments, they still have to say, this is what the experiment showed, but it's a little different from like if they have to build a model in a laboratory to run something, it's still a little different.
Yeah, and the experiment really what the experiment should say was, in this place over here at this time, this experiment was run. And then of course you can question the protocols and were there any mistakes made. And a lot of times when experiments are repeated, people get different results. There's all that kind of stuff that goes into sort of the...
Yeah, Feynman talked about the symmetries,
Yes.
right? So you make some assumptions that like any point in space is basically the same as any other point in space,
Okay.
and that any point in time is basically the same as any other point in time when you're doing experiments. That way you don't have to define like, well, we performed this experiment at this particular spot in space at this particular time,
Yeah.
because hopefully if you do the same experiment somewhere else in some other time, it's basically
gonna
the
be
same.
the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, he pointed out that when they know this isn't, or that the theory, I shouldn't say they know, the theory of the generation of the universe itself basically tells them that this symmetry fails to work at the beginning of the universe. Right? He's like, so we have this symmetry in the model. And yet the model is based on the idea that the symmetry fails at the beginning of the model. So...
Yeah. So I've been challenged recently on this, like, and this is not the only time, oftentimes it comes down to physics, because I'll start discussing physics with somebody who's a snake bro, and then they're like, well, you question everything else, but you're gonna just hold a hard line with certain things. And it's just like, well, no. Not exactly. I'm not holding a hard line, but there are some things that I've learned, and I do have to take some things take it for granted that they really did do these experiments, and what's reported was that they did actually have these observations, and that other people also did them and got the same observation.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm not going to just say, well, everything's up in the air.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, but even though Feynman, again, going back to the Feynman in the book report we did on character physical law, where he is basically, you pointed out during that series that Feynman would tell his students, like, do all the experiments.
Yeah, do them all again.
Check them.
Yeah, so I can't do them all.
Right. We can't do the experiments. So in some cases, we have to take it for granted that certain things were observed during experiments, and that those things have been,
They could be wrong.
they could be wrong.
But, I don't have to, but I do choose to kind of take certain things for granted, that these people were writing the truth about their experiments. And it's kind of like Bayesian reasoning, which Sean Carroll talks about a lot. Like you can have doubt all the time about everything, right? But you can also have sort of like a running sort of probability assessment of like, is it more probable that all these experiments that got the same observations by all these credible individuals that wrote all these papers that were then peer reviewed and blah, 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 were completely wrong and falsified or all mistakes, and it's this some other idea that has never been tested and never had repeated experiments done by credible people? Or is it more likely that those people did do those experiments and they did
And
get
they
those
lied.
results and they
Lied about everything.
so you kind of have this running probability all the time. And like, yeah, I am willing to accept at some point that like a lot of these foundational things or whatever were wrong when there's sufficient evidence to move the probability in the other direction.
Sure. Yeah.
But until
is
then,
Bayesian.
it's like, well, I'm just going to kind of hold these things as like, yes, they could change in the future, but right now they look pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do about it.
So I'm reading my first physics book.
Wow.
Yay for me.
This is one, yeah.
But it's The Physics of Blown Sand and Dunes by Ralph Bagnold.
Mm-hmm.
And they create a wind tunnel, and that's really the only way that they can take illuminated pictures of what this sand is doing as they're blowing it through the tunnel. And then they go to Egypt and they observe the sand a lot. But he says in the book, basically, like, we got our wind tunnel that is close enough to kind of what we're seeing out here in the sand dunes, but
There are variables.
they're not
that-
exact,
Yeah.
but they're within the range where it's like, okay, here's the mathematical equation that goes with what we think this is doing based off of the two things that we're seeing that are close enough.
Yeah, exactly. So the experiment in the lab is never exactly the reality in the situation you're trying to figure out, but it
It's
can
the
be
best
close
you can
enough.
do, yeah.
And it can be close enough to make some basic assumptions. And those could turn out to be wrong later,
Yeah.
right? Or refined by newer and better
Yeah,
experiments.
You need to keep in mind that they're assumptions, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing is and a lot of times it gets distilled into science articles, and the journalist is not necessarily going to break all this down, but hopefully, in a perfect world, which it isn't, the people doing the science, the scientists, know that these things are assumptions and are aware that some of this stuff could be wrong, and stuff gets turned over. But again, you have to go back to the one of the interesting things about crazy advancements is that a lot of times it comes from completely outside whatever the current thinking is.
Yeah, that's true.
And that it actually so that people who are deeply educated into whatever the current model is for whatever their science is, maybe actually they've been trained to be unable to think outside that model in order to find some groundbreaking idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I would say is, even if you could say that all the observations recorded in the experiments, the repeated experiments or whatever that basically make up the standard model, if they are all correct, the theories about why and how could still be wrong.
Sure.
It's not necessary that the theories are correct about all that. So, anyway.
But until you're going to build your own wind tunnel and blow sand through it over and over and over and over and over again,
That's the only way to do it.
shut up, right?
Well, I mean, we like to talk about these things, right?
I'm joking.
But yeah. Well, at least in to say that their experiment was all wrong and or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I don't know. Anyways, it's like sometimes you find yourself in like maybe a hypocritical position where it's like, well, I am accepting this, but it's not obvious all the time. We have these discussions all the time. And you're like, well, that can't work because this other thing. And it's like, well, this thing could be wrong. Oh, yeah, that's true. I have to
we
apply
all
the same.
just have to do the best we can with what we know at the time while we're trying to process a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, we got another PayPal donation from Rex,
Thank you.
who is in the chats right now. He says, indeed, a PayPal link in the chat would be a good idea. Snakes. There are snakes. And he donates $10.80. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very generous.
Yeah, wouldn't it be awesome if we were professional and had all that stuff set up?
I know.
Hey, when we walk through the airport, you guys are going to look professional, okay? So just hold on to that.
Okay. Yeah. We're professional in certain settings.
Chuck's 1999. He says, shout out to the back of the bus crew.
Yeah.
What's up, back of the bus crew?
Hey, back of the bus.
Says, anyway, that oil tasted quite salty. Probably from all the sweat from people touching it a million times. Oh, yucky. Anyway, I would love to do it again. No. It's recent, and I'll have to go back to retest it.
He says he would do it again.
Yeah, he would do it again.
I love you, Chuck. Bacon on a stick.
And he just so you guys know, Chuck was very proud of the fact that he didn't get it onto his finger and then taste
Right.
it. He actually licked
Yeah, he
the
said
box.
Oh,
He licked the ancient artifact.
Chuck.
Gotta do the old
smokes.
geological taste
Yeah,
test.
he gave us untold bucket loads of
He
shit
did
for
not
saying
want
that
what
he
was ever on his finger mixed in. That was smart,
That's
actually.
right.
I think
That's
now
right.
I support it.
He wanted, yeah.
You're
Did
a
not
good
want to
scientist, Chuck.
contaminate the
Good
sample.
scientist, Chuck, exactly.
Yeah. Brave scientist. Okay.
Yeah.
What's next?
We got something from our buddy Roddy.
Have we done well? I feel like we've gone through a lot. Are we doing okay?
pretty good, yeah.
We're getting there.
Okay.
Okay, so this is apropos of nothing in particular from Roddy the Mammal.
Roddy.
Dear Ophidian siblings, busy evening ahead, so I shall get right to it, if that's okay with you guys. 1. Recently, I have discovered that I do indeed have all the answers. Unfortunately, I dropped the box they were in, and now they're all out of order with the questions, and everything is a mess. While a major inconvenience, it does produce some humorous Q&A. For example, question: at what point in the apogee of a planet's orbit does gravity fail? Answer: cinnamon, with a dash of nutmeg, and hot sauce is required 10 minutes before final cooking. Granted, this is not uproariously funny, but it did kill at both the Junior Astrophysics Luncheon and the Culinary Jam Tart Jamboree last month. 3. I've always heard, well, not always, but mostly have heard that the correct pronunciation of paranthropus is paranthropus, with the accent on the middle 2 syllables. I'm not sure if this is the correct Latin/Greek pronunciation that scientists use, but this is how we pronounce it on the streets, where we like to keep it real. Brooklyn represent! 4. Since the sun is not static, but orbits the galactic center, the orbits of the planets are not, in fact, elliptical, but they are spiral, as they follow the sun's path through space. 5. There is still no number 6. Reports from NASA are that 6 was last seen in the cafeteria on Thursday, and it is believed that the missing petty cash and the trail of candy wrappers leading from the vending machine to 6's parking space is telling. 7. Since endothermy, is that right? Endothermy, and opposable thumbs imparts, internal heat.
Yes.
Right. And opposable
I know
thumbs.
it's endothermic,
Yeah.
but or endothermy? I'm not
Endothermy. And opposable thumbs imparts one with a greater and some might say false sense of worth. I have some recommendations for future book reports. This is funny to me. A, On the Origin of Species by Charles Darwin, which that might be fun.
Hey, that would be
I
cool.
think there are many misconceptions regarding what Darwin actually said regarding his theory and its apparent application in nature.
Let's do it. That sounds like a great idea.
B, Dark Life, Martian Nanobacteria, Rock-Eating Cave Bugs, and Other Extreme Organisms of Inner Earth and Outer Space by Michael Ray Taylor. This is a fascinating look at the discovery of possible fossil evidence of Martian life found in Antarctica, and mainstream science's scriptardish refusal to even look at this evidence. And this is the one that's funny to me. C, The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Cremo and Richard Thompson. This is a fascinating and thought-provoking take on an alternate history of the human race. Roddy, I am very disappointed in you, my friend.
Oh.
We did a book report on that one. You must have missed it. So go back through the back catalog and look for it. D, The Secret of Skull Mountain, Hardy Boys, Book 27, by Frank W. Dixon. This is an awesome adventure. And B, wait, why is B way down here? Okay. B, Pat the Bunny, by Dorothy Kuhnhart. This is fuzzy, he says. So 8, if the Earth is truly flat, why have cats not knocked everything off the edge by now? They've certainly had more than enough time in these past 4.5 billion years.
There's an ice wall. That's why.
Right.
Don't forget about
That's
the ice
what
wall,
keeps
bro.
the cats from pushing everything off. 9. Galileo's experiment of dropping the 2 balls of different sizes from the Tower of Pisa proved that gravity has the same effect on falling objects, regardless of size and weight. And given this fact and the fact that flying is nothing more than falling and forgetting to hit the ground, should not the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow both laden and unladen remain constant? Well,
I didn't
Say
catch
it again. Say it one
I
more
didn't
time.
catch that. The whole
right, so
thing.
he's comparing Galileo's experiment. When you're dropping these 2 different balls of different mass,
Yeah.
they fall at the same.
Yeah.
Should that not mean that the airspeed of a velocity of a swallow, whether it's laden or unladen, it would remain constant? This is a Monty Python joke he's trying to slide in
Yeah,
here.
I know.
Well, how did
It's
it
a good
do,
point.
babe?
I think it would just be because they're flying. It would
It's
be-
a totally different thing.
Yeah, it would be once they were able to accelerate up to their flying speed, it's not really. I guess that is a controlled fall, though. I don't know. Should we have the debate? Let's do the debate.
Well, the final one he has here is number 2. Should ordered lists be required to follow a rigid numbering system? Thank you in advance. Yours, Roddy the Mammal. Oh, and P.S. Due to time and space and time constraints, the P.S. has been bumped to the next email. Apologies for any inconvenience this may cause.
Ordered lists are not required
No.
for 2 reasons. 2, we don't care.
And C, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well,
We done?
No way. Is it? Is it over?
I mean, there's 4 minutes. I could probably read another email here.
Let's do one more email. This is unbelievable.
the victim of the fastest 2 hours in podcasting.
Okay, this one's called I Don't Know, Something Witty. From Jordan. Hello, brothers. My name is Jordan. Go ahead and dox me, as there's likely hundreds of Jordan. Okay, so he says, my name is Jordan Miller. Go ahead and dox me, as there's likely hundreds of Jordan Millers. I am Ogre on Discord, a nickname bestowed to me by my best friend Sean because I'm apparently a giant human. But after hearing about the giants of the past, now I'm more certain that I'm a tiny giant. So forgive my fidgety fingers as I type this. I feel a sense of humility as my wit seems to pale in comparison to the 2 of you and the rest of the Snake Force. You 2 seem to be extraordinarily exceptional human beings. Seem is the operative word.
Yes.
Like some kind of Captain Fantastic, a movie you've probably never heard of. Effing well-nurtured prodigies. So thank you for existing, for the podcast, for helping Randall to do his podcast, for your awesome music, and for general badassery all around. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate that.
I felt compelled to write to you after listening to Sode 26. Wow. That's deep in the back catalog. Sode 26, The Pillars of Enoch. Both of your monologues about the why for your reasons for doing the podcast resonated with me. Kyle, your music is amazing, to put it mildly, and your
Thanks,
intent is noble. So keep on kicking ass, my snaky friend.
All right. Thank you, buddy.
Russ, Russ, your dream hit home with me. So this is the recurring dream I had for a while about the pillars. I, like everyone else, have no idea what the true nature or story of human existence is, but I've always felt that it's some grand epic struggle for harmony and knowledge and reaching for the stars. It made me think of the movie Cloud Atlas, and this is where I pick this email back up, where it's been in the draft folder for over a year, right? So this is... He wrote up to Cloud Atlas, and then he put it in the draft folder and didn't write on it for a year.
Wow.
And then he puts in parentheticals. So this is where I pick it back up. So this is going to end up a book. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. LOL. So he says, anyways, the premise is of a struggle across the ages and many lifetimes of the same characters. Reincarnation, which is an idea that I resonate with. I feel humans have been struggling for the light for ages, and many souls have been in this fight for many lifetimes, perhaps you two included. I discovered y'all through the usual path of Rogan, Hancock, Carlson, and Snakes, and I listened to all of your podcasts from so till present over the last year, and it has been very interesting watching you evolve. You've gone from being excited little schoolboys meeting Randall Carlson to ignoring his phone call in the middle of the show.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty true.
From aspiring to be part of a community that asks good questions to being an integral part of it. It's no surprise that Randall and Brad chose you two as their apprentices. It's quite obvious they adore you. Kyle,
Thanks,
that
bro.
pre-session album is fucking phenomenal. I think you have done well capturing the essence of what you said during your why monologue. The lyrics, so he's referring back to The
That's
lyrics are
cool.
poetic. They are hauntingly beautiful and insightful. I hope, as you do, that your music will carry on through the ages and benefit mankind. $50 Dynasty is definitely the wild stallions of this reality.
Stallion. Yes, dude. Thank you so much, dude.
Also, everyone should check out the $50 Dynasty Patreon. There's some awesome sea shanties the bros sing and amazing acoustic songs. Witnessing the incredible connection you two have in those videos nearly brought me to tears, especially the This Is War acoustic practice one. Also, thank you, Kyle, for posting the old version of Gone at my request.
You're
You
welcome,
guys
sir.
are amazing. So that's enough gushing for now. Let's move on to a Serapeum hypothesis that you two can destroy. Just kidding. I don't have one.
Oh.
So this is not
You
too
got
long
me.
of a book, I hope. I wish you Serpentine siblings well, and may your slithering lead you to wisdom. Love you, boys. Always have. Always will. And P.S. My favorite species is still the Russ Kyle Brett snake of Texas. And he says, whispers real loud, snakes.
Thank you for that email. And I'm with you
Yeah,
that was
about
a great one.
That
I'm
was
with
good.
you about the Randall comment, because when we were standing out in the driveway, we were all saying we should start a podcast. Randall came up and I was like, yeah, let's call him. That's no big deal. Let's just call Randall. Let's just find his number and call him. So I was happy too when it came true.
Yeah, that was really
Can
cool.
you go up?
Sure.
DK, right here, this red one, D. Love the show, guys. I've listened to every show at least twice. I consider you guys my second family. Love you.
Oh,
Wow.
We love
thank
you
you.
too.
love you always have.
And then before you read that yellow one, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm picking out some that aren't paid. I'm sorry. Culloden or Cat Blessed Cat. I don't know how you say that, but I'm so glad I found this podcast. This is the show child me needed. I'm so happy I found it though. You all are awesome. Snakes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Oh, look. DK did pay up. Look at him. Am I reading it?
Yep.
You guys have kept me entertained for the last 4 years while I work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we got one from to the PayPal from Christian.
Hey.
Oops. Anyways,
What?
here's a little for Turkey.
Oh, thank you.
Clueless Crease.
Oh, hey, girl.
Thank you very much. It
Yeah.
was $10. Appreciate it. Oh, and oh wow, another one. Just came in. Can't read this name, but maybe they signed it with something I can read. I mean, I could
For the Pyramid
guess
Scheme.
what that name means, but it's in a different language. For the Pyramid Scheme,
Thank you.
$111.
Hey.
Speaking of that, we are due for a new commercial.
And I'm just
We
gonna
need one.
I'm just gonna do this based on English, but it's anyways, it's Anka, which is like a cool name. But I don't actually know what the second character is or the reverse in. But I'm using it as an in.
I think that's Russian.
It could be.
Maybe I'm
But
wrong.
I don't know. But thank you so much for that. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the support. We really appreciate it. I'm glad we were able to come in here and do one final show before we leave. We are leaving, like I said, we're leaving early next week. We're going to be in Turkey for almost 3 weeks. It's going to be amazing. We will be giving you guys, there will be content in the Discord. We'll definitely be posting photographs and, videos and stuff there. Hopefully we'll be able to get together and do some streaming if the internet connection is good enough at the hotels. We're going to be hanging out with Ben. It's going to be awesome. We're going to be jamming. So keep on the lookout for that. But other than that, there will be no normal podcast posted while we're gone. So the podcast will start back up after we get back, and we'll probably have lots of things to say about what we've seen.
Thank you for hanging with us tonight. I think I like the live.
Yeah, the
I think
live
I'm
is fun.
sold on the live.
All right, that's good.
Sold on the
Hey,
live.
we could do some more when we get back, and you can join us and talk
Yeah.
about all the things we learned.
Oh, you
when we
guys
get
think I can join you? You guys think I can come in here?
back. Of course.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Like we did the Egypt
I'm
talk. I said, this
joking.
time you'll be there.
You just need to learn not to do your producer stuff on the show. That's like, you know.
I'm
Now
sorry.
he's being a producer.
Sorry.
She's like, we need commercials.
Yeah, I think of something. I'm
Commercial.
like, hey, we need this. Sorry, I'll hold back. I'll take notes on my tablet here. But hey, who stayed on her mic this whole show?
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. High fives all around.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. BrothersOfTheSerpent.com for the podcast, all the podcast related stuff. If you want to email us, brothersoftheserpent@gmail.com. I read them all. They can't all be read on the show, but if you write us, it may get read on the show. You never know. So keep them coming. I love the emails. There's
This
so many
show
great
was
ones.
brought to you by Tinfoil Butt Flaps. Keep out of the demon ditches with
Tinfoil
your
butt
tinfoil
flaps.
butt flap.
From Butt Flapperheimer Bunchland. We love you guys.
Be careful not to.
Do not sit down twice.
I was just trying to figure out how to get it in there. You got it in there. I love you the most. Is that what I'm
She
saying
always
right
has.
now?
She always has.
And she
always will.
Good night, Atamu.
Get back to work.
Dang it.